Hello, 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 ladies and gelatins. Welcome to Monday. And oh my gosh, we are literally halfway through December now, which is crazy. Yes, I am not short, but my stream today I will be streaming for halftime today because I woke up with a mild fever this morning and I'm feeling better, but I want to be careful. I can feel, you know, that feeling when you kind of feel a little feverish where like your back muscles are weird and your bones kind of feel strange. Like that part didn't go away, but I took my temperature and I'm fine now. I'm just being careful. So I split in the middle and had the compromise. I didn't want to just cancel stream because I really want to play more of this game and love hanging out with y'all, but that's why we're here. So yes, hello Kira, hello Rubesticks. Wonderful to see you all today. Oh, and quick thing for next week, I'll mention this again at the end of stream, but for next week, I actually don't know yet if I'm going to stream. I am going to be traveling to another city for the holidays, but I'm not certain yet if I'm going to be traveling on Monday or Tuesday, and I'll find out. We'll all be a little surprised when that happens. We shall see how it goes. Actually, oh my gosh, yeah, I almost was gonna have a surgery next week, but that didn't happen. Oh my god, I didn't tell you guys anything about this. I'll do a really quick thing. Thank you, Ripsticks, and thank you for the hydrate. I do actually have a half a liter of water here sitting next to the desk, which is funny because right before I started the stream, I was like, oh, I think I might be kind of thirsty, and I just kept drinking, and I drank a whole half liter. So we have another one, and it's still not going to be enough. So surgery, okay, not that scary actually. Turns out, but like it was something. So I have like. I know you can't see it in my adorable little jelly form here, but like I actually have like a really deviated septum. Basically, one side of my nose does not really nose like at all. It's almost entirely useless. I want you to imagine like breathing through half of a coffee straw. Like it's pretty completely useless, and it gets real bad on sometimes like when I have a cold or whatever, and it's like that. It's a whole thing, and turns out with the insurance that I have with my current job, not only okay, so both things. The first thing is, turns out with the insurance that I have on my current job, it is completely 100% free. Polska Guram. I did not even know that that could be a possible thing. I had no idea. Yeah, my sleep is not great, and if I have a cold, I basically like I spend most of the night like crying or tossing and turning because I cannot sleep. And I'll tell you a secret: if you can't sleep, you get better way slower. So every sickness like hits me harder, and it really sucks. Like I literally have a way that I sleep sometimes, especially if my nose gets dry, that like pulls the skin on my face on that side to open that nostril even the tiniest little bit more so I can have any relief whatsoever. It's not good. And apparently you don't have to live like that. Apparently the surgery that they do for that has gone places. It's really solid now. And I was like, because I was really worried because like I had read some stuff online like a long time ago because I knew this was a problem like 10 years ago, but what was I going to do about it then? Especially because I heard like, oh yeah, you get like stuff shoved up your nose afterwards and then you can't breathe at all through your nose for like 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, I think I would die of sleep deprivation. I cannot fall asleep if I can't breathe through my nose, even a tiny little bit. I always end up like snoring anyways, but like for some reason, my brain will not fall asleep. Well, actually, I know what reason. It's because I cannot stand dry mouth. Cannot stand it. Cannot stand the sensation of dry mouth. So basically, yeah. So apparently, it's changed, and even like talking to multiple doctors about this now, they were like, no, like yeah, it's like hard. It's basically like imagine you have a really bad sinus infection for a few days. It gets better every day after that, and it gets way better after the first week, and then pretty much almost as good as new / technically better after week 2. But like the whole time you should be able to breathe like a little bit. I'm like, really? Hold on. Hold on. And it's only like supposed to be bad for like 2-3 days? Like, I know it's not going to be fun. And also like my manager, I told him that I was going to get the surgery. And he's like, oh no, you're going to be out for a week. Take that time. Like, don't worry about anything. Take that time. You know, like don't even think about anything other than above health. Like nothing is above health. Like work will always be here, which was really nice of him. My boss is great, actually. But yeah, so also not only does it make you sleep bad, but it gets worse over time because like your nose is one of the things, your nose and your ears are one of the things that just like don't stop growing. So like it gets worse over time. So I'm like, you know what? It's time to do that. It's time to actually do that. I was absolutely terrified. And then the more I started learning about it, the more I felt better about it. And when I called like the insurance, because I had to call the insurance people to be like, hey, so there's this surgery, like, is this covered? The guy on the phone was so nice. Not only was he like, listen, no. Like, listen, I'm so glad you're doing this. Like, he's like, I had this surgery recently. Or like, you know, I don't even remember if he said recently, I had this surgery. He's like, it changed my life. It's completely going to change your life. Like, don't even worry about it. Don't be afraid about it. Like, it's amazing. It's 100% worth it. And he's like, I can give you the name of the doctor who did, like the guy who did my surgery. He's amazing. Literally only 5 stars on the local Znane Lekarz, the most popular doctor rating website here. I looked up this guy. He's right, 100%. Like, he's got like over 700 reviews and every single one is 5 stars. This guy apparently is the best of the best. And I could just request him and it was still covered. And I'm in my American shock about this whole thing. I'm like, I didn't know this is how one could interact with the doctor. Like this process was easy and also really fast. I could have had it scheduled, next week, but they were like, oh, so actually because we need to see you after a week and we actually like we take Christmas off, we can't see you in 1 week, so we'd prefer to do it on the 12th of January. And I'm like, all right, well, I would 100% trust the doctors here and their opinions on this because they're the professionals and I can wait 1 more month for that. So that's happening next month. That'll be fun. Yeah, that's on a Monday. I won't be streaming. I won't be streaming on that Monday. I won't be streaming on the 12th of January. Just a fun fact for y'all. But yeah, I hope it makes a big difference. I really do. I feel like no matter what, it can't be worse than what I'm dealing with now. And I always was telling myself like, oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. But like, when I was like, hey, I think maybe because like, you know, because when I had whooping cough, like one of the doctors looked at me, she's like, listen, I don't know what's wrong with you, because like they were still trying to figure it out. She's like, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you should get that surgery for the deviated septum. Like, I literally can't even see inside this nostril, like, at all. Like, I can't, if I was trying to find something, I can't. I can only look on the other one. Like, that's it. And I was just like, oh, this is, okay, well, maybe it's worse than I thought. Like, you know, the thing where you like minimize everything that you deal with in your life because like you just kind of get used to it. Apparently that's what I was doing. Apparently, actually, it's kind of a bigger deal than I thought. Exactly. It's also the thing, like, I've never known what it's like to breathe normally. So I have literally no idea what it could be like. And so, like I said, I'm not even expecting a miracle. I'm just so, I would love, like, finding out that what I'm experiencing is so abnormal. I'm really curious if maybe most of my life I hated cardio, except for Dance Dance Revolution, because of this, because it was hard for me to breathe. I really wonder if that's just like always been the case. And if so, then I would say I would almost regret that I never got it earlier, but it just kind of feels like, I guess it had to happen now. And that's just how it is. So yeah, that's in a month. Wish me luck. I'll let you guys know obviously before that actually happens. And yeah, that's a big thing that's happening in my life actually, but it's a good thing. I'm not scared for it right now. I know I will be like right before it happens, but I'm also going to be completely knocked out. So I'm just going to be like, cool. I don't even want to think about it. I'm just going to go in there. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to wake up and be like, nose, head, face feel weird. You're only regretted as far as your insurance covers it, right? Well, it's completely 100% covered. So I won't regret. I won't regret it. I know that. I'll just definitely have like a week or two of being like, So we'll see. We'll see. Because like, yeah, okay. Well, I'll talk about this more as it gets closer to. In the meantime, because it's a short stream today, I should actually maybe play this game for 40 minutes. Let's play some game. Hold on. Oh, now it's going. Okay. Oh my gosh, my controller turned off because I took too long. 10 years ago. This is also true. This is also true. Like, I could not afford it until literally with this insurance that I have now. And it doesn't mean that I could have afforded it the whole time either, because I didn't know that my insurance was... Hold on. Something is... Hello? All right, hold on. I'm gonna reboot the game. Because, like, the controller's on now, but now it's just like, what do you mean? What do you mean clicking on buttons? Yeah, and 10 years ago, 100% in the United States, like, that was 1000% an impossibility. Like, no way. No way, no way, no way, no way, no way. Why is it still not? Hello? Why? It was working before. Literally, it was working before. The problem is, like, again, I could do this with keyboard, except for the fact that I don't know how, and the controls are kind of funky. So I'd have to press all sorts of buttons. At least on a controller, you have a limited number of buttons to press. All right, I'm gonna try rebooting a Bluetooth. I should have done this. Like, it was working until it disconnected. But I wish I could have done this earlier somehow. Maybe I shouldn't have told the whole story about the stuff. That's a choice that I made, I suppose. Let's see. Up here. Steam, show me the thing so I can do search for Bluetooth. Bluetooth, just turn it on and off. Hello. Which also does turn off my headphones. But not the microphone, which is important. It was working right up until it stopped working. Yes, correct. I don't know if you guys heard the ladybot, but she was there. The best part is once I click on it. All right, we gotta try keyboard. It's just not today. Great. All right, I'm gonna have to learn the keyboard controls. At least they kind of show up while I'm doing this. No, not okay. I want to see the time thing. Hold on. Take me back. Take me back. Take me back. It's the button for... Okay, time chart. Oh no, it's the control buttons. I have to... The function buttons. Okay. So we have a jump from Achi. We have a to be continued. We have the to be continued for Maria. We have... We don't know where we are with Sawa. We have a jump from Minorikawa. We have Kano. Okay, let's just continue from Kano. Okay. Okay, Kano decided not to press. I don't think it matters. We were contacted by the masterminds, which is insane because, like, nobody knows about this mastermind. I will fix my controller next week or the week after. Well, not the week after because I will definitely be not around the week after, but I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Everything is fine. Nothing bad is happening. Criminals are trying to get their hands on a new drug, an antiviral developed by Kenji Osawa that had been shown to infect against the UA virus. 100% mortality rates. Incubation period of 12 hours. Okay. So the controls, if I press WASD is this thing that can time chart and stuff. How do I look at... We'll see when it happens. I don't know how to look at the blue text. It has an incubation period of 12 hours. Another 4 hours, Moriozawa will go symptomatic. After that, Wasad? Why? Why is it Wasad? It's WASD. What? No. We're not in SAD. It's capable of airborne okay. Q, E, WZD. Nope. WAS kind of works like that. F is backspace. Enter. No. Shift. Autoplay disabled. Okay. Like, what button do I need to press? X, Y, Z. Like, no. Mouse doesn't do anything. Tab. Oh, it's tab. Okay, tab makes sense. Following the onset of symptoms, individuals infected with the UA virus bleed from the lungs, and the virus is readily released into the air via coughing. The UA virus is highly resilient in the open air and can survive even after saliva or other fluids have evaporated. Simply getting within 2 meters of a symptomatic patient is said to carry a high risk of infection. Body fluids from deceased patients carry an especially high concentration of the virus, and anything contaminated with such fluids must be thoroughly sterilized before it is safe. Stanley nodded. If we don't administer Kenji Osawa's antiviral before she develops symptoms. Yes? Kano's voice was trembling now. Stanley spoke with complete certainty. Everyone in Shibuya is going to die. That is true. Seems like it would require some social distancing. Yeah, no, that's not enough. That's not enough. I mean, it almost would be, except, like, how long does it stay in the dead body? Because, like, yeah. But it's pretty brutal. But yeah, you could basically just isolate her, which would still be bad because, you know, death is not great of a thing, you know, for someone to experience in isolation especially. But yeah. Nah, we'll get the antiviral to her. Like 12 hours is longer than the rest of this game is. And I'm not talking real hours, I'm talking fake hours, like in-game hours. Stanley remained cool. Just calm down. There's more to the story. Stanley was interrupted by a strange sound from the upper floors of a nearby building. Unsure of what it was, the two men hurriedly relocated. Someone overheard it. They paused when they came to a vacant lot. The place was deserted. No need to worry about being overheard here. You said there was more to the story, Kano prompted. The antiviral in question is stored in Kenji Osawa's laboratory. The lab is protected by a sophisticated security system, and apparently the storage area where the drug is kept requires fingerprint authentication from both Osawa and Tanaka. What? But Tanaka's... Kano couldn't help but gasp. Tanaka was currently a fugitive, the prime suspect in the kidnapping case. There was no chance of getting any fingerprint authorization from him at this stage. Is there any other way to get in? Kano asked. The door can also be unlocked via passcode in place of a fingerprint scanner, but we'd still need to know what Tanaka chose for his password. No. In any event, Stanley said, it's essential that we track down and secure Maria. But, he went on, his voice grave, even if we get Maria to safety, the mastermind is now in possession of the UA virus. If they want to, they can unleash a bioterrorist attack on Shibuya at any time. How did they get that virus, actually? Put it bluntly, the lives of every man, woman, and child in the city are in their hands. Kano felt a pulse of fear deep enough to give him vertigo. Trying to crack a phone. Yep. I mean, listen, apparently there's only so few passwords that people choose. He slowly tilted his back. I think it's just he slowly tilted his back and head and gazed at the sky and blue as always. There had to be tens of thousands of people in Shibuya right now. Rumi and Shizuo were among them. They might all be dead within a day. It felt so unreal, Kano's mind almost couldn't process it. With an effort of will, he shook himself out of his daze. Now was no time to waver. We have to try, he said. In the next 4 hours, we need to find Maria Osawa and figure out a way to stop this mastermind from the Uwa virus. The words were as much for himself as they were for his companion. Let's do this, Stanley. We might not always see eye to eye, but together I feel you and I can find a way. But Stanley averted his gaze. My job here is simply to apprehend the mastermind. Kano felt a resurgence of his earlier anger at Stanley. Once again, he was putting his duties above human life. I'm sorry. Stanley's voice was a quiet mutter. You should get away from Shibuya as soon as possible, Kano. Kano hadn't imagined that the American would ever be worried for him. Appreciate the warning, he said, but I'm seeing this through to the end. This isn't the sort of thing you can solve with just an effort of willpower. Even so, giving up isn't the Japanese detective way. Stanley let out a nasal chuckle. Back to that again, are we? Same to you. Kano managed a tiny chuckle of his own. Listen, Stanley went on after a moment. This is just between you and me. The mastermind behind this kidnapping case is an arms dealer who goes by the name Alphard, which is a really funny name. It sounds like, I don't know, really just old-timey and goofy. I love it. Beyond simply selling weapons, illegal arms dealers are also frequently involved in smuggling weapons unlawfully obtained through deals with government or military contracts. In recent years, such enterprises have become increasingly globalized. Some dealers form smuggling networks that also deal in money laundering, drug trafficking, and more. Alphard is a real name? Really? I don't know. It kind of sounds like the old-timey version of like Caden Braden. Caden Braden Jaden. That whole thing. The attempted bioterrorist attack on Kasumigaseki, a hotel bombing in Chicago, Alphard had a hand in all of them. What do you know about this criminal? Kano asked. Stanley's expression grew even darker. Is a name for a star? A brand of cars? There's Alphard cars? I don't know. It's just, I cannot remove the association of just some old nerdy guy, which is not a bad association. It just doesn't fit for me for Mastermind. Toyota Alphard? Really? That's so weird. That's so weird. I think like Alphonse or Alfred or Alfred. Alphard's signature is extremely meticulous planning. But I don't mean meticulous in the same way you or I might normally think of it. Their plans are perfectly imperfect. Do you get what I mean? Kano shook his head. Alphard deliberately engineered accidents. Okay, the translation's getting interesting. Alphard deliberately engineers accidents. Okay, maybe I just can't read today. Maybe I am not completely healthy. No, but his neck was definitely not a normal sentence. Or his back, his head. The other one's the song. Yeah, okay. It can be both. It can be both, that there's a little bit of translation wonky and then a lot of bit of jelly brain. Just cooking jelly brain. Slowly, but surely. Alphard deliberately engineers accidents to make things complicated and unpredictable. It's difficult to get a good grasp of what's going on when the situation seems to be falling apart. People tend not to consider that coincidental mishaps might be anything but. In the end, they don't even realize they were playing right into the mastermind's hands all along. Kano could hear this intensity in Stanley's voice. Maybe. Maybe it's all deliberate. I'm afraid that's all I can say. Stanley held out his right hand. See you around, Kano. If we're still alive. If we're still alive. Oh, I have to cough. Hold on. Yeah. So, Kano let that sink in for a moment. Hello? Nah, I'll shake your hand. After we finish this case. With a slight smile, Stanley withdrew his hand. Then the two bumped fists instead. All right, we'll meet again, Kano. I'm sure of it. Oh, they're bonding. It's actually really sweet to see them bonding because, like, we have the same. Like, this game does such a good job of like putting you in the character's head while still having the narrator voice. Like, we have the unreliable narrator. We are seeing Stanley, even with the photography, the way and the timing of the photography for this is to make us feel the same way Kano does. We are suspicious. We are frustrated with him. We don't understand this American, but we want to be able to trust him and respect him because we can feel the power and authority that he has and how he actually knows a lot, and we need him, but we need him to need us too because we're Kano. And also, this is an incredible photo and I love it. No sooner had Stanley departed than Kuze's voice came in over the wireless. Attention all units. As of now, further investigation on the kidnapping case is suspended. Progression from punching to bro fisting. Straight up. The director's voice sounded strangely cold. I repeat, as of now, further investigation on the kidnapping case is suspended. Wait, hold on, sir. Kano shouted. What is it, Kano? Could you at least let us know why? We've received information that Maria Osawa has been infected with an unknown virus and has been released somewhere in Shibuya. That matched up with what Stanley had said earlier. An anti-bioterrorism security force will probably be deployed in Shibuya. Bioterrorism. Fun facts for kiddos. Terrorism involving biological agents such as bacteria or viruses. Biological weapons are easier to acquire and transport than nuclear weapons, and because they rely on an organism's natural ability to proliferate or infect, they can yield powerful results for low effort. For these reasons, recent years have seen widespread apprehension about the possibility that such weapons might be used by terrorists. In the event that a bioterrorist attack occurred in Japan, a temporary quarantine and decontamination facilities would be set up in the area affected. This is no longer a simple kidnapping case. Our part in this is finished. No, it's not. We haven't managed to resolve anything. Kano, I assure you everyone else feels the same as you do. Kuze's voice had a cautionary tone. They're still performing the autopsy on the body found in the blue minivan that exploded. I'll let you know once we have a positive ID. Kuze out. Director. The line had already gone dead. Left at a loss, Kano gazed out the cityscape. The sight of the bombed vehicle had calmed down briefly, but now that the news networks had begun reporting, the herd of onlookers was growing. There was also a sizable crowd gathered outside a large home electronics store. The large LCD televisions on display were showing a press conference being held by the governor of Tokyo. Kano might learn something new about the case. He decided to watch the broadcast. Let's see. Yeah, cult stories is silly and immature. It's true. It's true. There is so much depth in so many more things than people give it credit for. Closely with the administration, we are keeping a careful eye on the situation as it develops. The governor's expression was solemn as he spoke. The moment he finished his statement, the reporters bombarded him with questions. It seemed similar to the bioterrorist attack on Kasumigaseki 2 years ago. Is there any possible connection? What countermeasures do we have in the event that Shibuya is the target of bioterrorism? The governor was visibly disconcerted. If this does turn out to be a bioterrorist attack, we will establish emergency shelters with a large-scale quarantine station at Yoyogi Park. However, there are still many details that remain unknown. The politician was clearly struggling to maintain his composure. Can you comment on the rumors we're hearing that Shibuya might be blockaded off? Don't be ridiculous, the governor barked. What outlet are you with? Are you trying to start a panic? We don't even know all the details? Besides, it wouldn't be possible to blockade the whole of Shibuya. The press conference continued. The governor and the reporters locked in with belligerent back and forth. People praise Silent Hill 2 for being super adult, while Silent Hill 1+3 being silly because cult stuff's dumb and childish. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, people underestimate cults. People very much underestimate cults despite how prevalent they are, despite how that psychology is inside all of us. All of us are susceptible to cult psychology. Every single one of us. The more you know about it, the less susceptible you are, but like, your brain works the same as people inside cults do. It does. That's how they get people. To tell them both to get far away from Shibuya. Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna go back and undo that. I want him to get to Rumi faster. The cafe seemed quite quiet when Kano arrived. Shizuo was sitting alone. Kano scanned the establishment but didn't see Rumi anywhere. Most staff greeted him. Welcome, just one, sir? No, meeting someone, actually. Of course, sir. The hostess smiled and then went on her way. Shizuo was glaring at him. Kano walked over to him and bowed deeply. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. I'm Shinya Kano. You look like even more of a knuckle-dragger than I thought. Shizuo maintained his appraising stare. Rumi had something she needed to do, so she stepped away for a while, he said after a long moment. Kano sat down in front of him. There was a laptop computer open on the table. Right now, the laptop's in sleep mode, and there's nothing on the monitor, but just before Kano came in, Shizuo was browsing an internet forum. He takes his user handle from a nickname for the apples he grows on his own farm. Which are pretty little things and nearly as sweet as... This is the guy who also goes on the Ayakamiki. Oh gosh, it's him. It's him. It is him. He's the other guy on the forum for the Ayakamiki over 40 fans. Incredible. I love the connections here. Osawa and him would be besties if only they knew. The waitress came by to take Kano's order, so he asked for an iced coffee. What are you using the computer for? Kano asked. I'm on the internet. Shizuo's voice was low and gruff. This cafe has an internet connection? I guess we'll start with a little small talk. So what? Again, Shizuo glared at Kano. The words wouldn't come. No, actually, this is no time to be making idle chit-chat. If they got infected with the virus, Rumi and Shizuo might die. Look, please. You need to leave Shibuya right away. Shizuo's face contorted with confusion. What are you talking about? Why? Kano wasn't sure if he should tell the truth or not. He was strictly prohibited from discussing a case with anyone outside the department. As a former policeman himself, Shizuo ought to understand the full well the secrecy and investigation required. But it wasn't like he'd just up and leave town without a good reason. Please listen, Kano said. You know what? There's a risk of a bioterror. There's a risk of a... Is that what I mean is... Oh. Shizuo pounded his fist on the table. Spit it out. Kano just couldn't say it. No matter who he was talking to, he couldn't make himself leak the details of an ongoing investigation. Besides, there's no guarantee a bioterrorist attack would actually happen. If they could just find Izakura Maria Osawa before she was symptomatic... Does this have something to do with the case you're working? Huh? You told me to leave Shibuya. Does it have something to do with your case? Yes, Kano admitted. So why don't you run off with Rumi then? Shizuo's tone was frank. Well, I mean... When Kano didn't have an answer handy, Shizuo let out a single heavy sigh. Is your work important to you? He asked. Kano hesitated. Is it more important than Rumi? Well, Again, Shizuo cut Kano off as he waffled how to answer. Me, I used to put my work before my family. There was no question in my mind that combating society's ills and solving cases was worth any price. And because of that, I did some pretty reckless things. Almost wound up dead more than once. Shizuo paused, a forlorn look in his eyes. My wife did nothing but worry about me. So much that I didn't even realize when she'd worried herself sick. I was so caught up in my work that I wasn't even there for her when she finally passed away. It's all so very absurd of me. The waitress came by and set Kano's iced coffee on the table. It sat there, untouched, until Shizuo looked at it pointedly. With a tiny nod, Kano brought the cup to his lips. The bittersweet liquid was a balm to his parched throat. I told Rumi the same story, Shizuo continued, but I didn't tell her how absurd it was. I told her that her father only did what he had to do. He took a sip from his glass of water. Yeah, no, honestly, it can be pretty tone deaf, and yeah, cults do terrorism. That is a thing. That is a thing that they do because extremists of any kind are willing to go to any lengths because that's how that works. Rumi, she's very like her mother used to be. Their personalities are almost identical, and I don't want her to suffer the same way my wife did. Shizuo's fist clenched in his lap. What was it that made you become a detective in the first place, he asked. Well, at first, I got the job because I thought it would make Rumi happy. And then I guess also because I thought it'd make you like me, sir. It was the truth, but Shizuo simply chuckled. If your goal is to get me to like you, you may as well give up now. Sorry, sir, Kano said. I can't do that. Are you this stubborn around Rumi? Shizuo grumbled. I love your daughter, sir. I want to keep her safe, make her happy. And why is that? Whenever I think about her, I just feel so amazing. I'm sure that you or anyone can empathize with that. Everyone has someone they want to protect, who makes them feel that good. It's an admirable thing, wanting to be a detective and protect the happiness of people. But that doesn't mean you need to ignore your own happiness in the process. What you say may be true, sir. Earlier today, my partner was stabbed. And today is his wife's birthday. Shizuo arched his brow. Is he gonna make it? I'm not sure yet. Last I knew, he was in critical condition. This is why I keep saying the life of a detective is... Shizuo's words trailed off into a lamenting murmur. Even so, Kano was unmoved. Dictum number 1. Never lose sight of what you're supposed to protect. Ever. What's that? Something that a senior detective I admire very much said. It's the fundamental guiding principle I've stuck to as a detective. But I was wrong about the real meaning behind it. My partner was stabbed. There are people I want to rescue. So much has happened, and now I finally understand what those words mean. When you see someone in trouble, you help them. That's not something a good detective does. That's something a good person does. Kano took a good long look at Shizuo's face. He had surprised himself, finding the words to speak his feelings so clearly, and he wondered what effect it had on the older man. I'm sure that from your perspective, as my future father-in-law, my being a detective means that I'm putting my life on the line. That's not entirely true. I can only be myself. This is the kind of person I am. I care about helping people. Even if I were a banker or a brewer or a bookseller, I'd still act the same way. Being ridiculous, a baker and a detective don't assume anywhere near the same risks. I suppose that's true. Kano fussed with his hair sheepishly. Kano grumbled, I think I see what kind of man you are now. He sounded oddly defeated. Which is why now is no time to just futz around. Kano sat up straighter at Shizuo's weighty tone. A detective needs more than just passion. A detective can't solve all his problems with sheer determination alone. At the same time, he needs more than just the ability to coldly assess a situation. He needs the conviction to stick to a case when it might otherwise seem prudent to give up. There's something new in Shizuo's expression now, and a gleam in his eyes that hadn't been there before. Kano almost felt like he was being sermonized to by a senior officer. You got that? Need a cool mind, but a fiery spirit. A detective without both of those is worth nothing. Do you mind if I write that down in my notebook here? Look, Shizuo said, sounding suddenly embarrassed. Aren't you in a hurry? Don't you have to get back to your case? Yes, sir. Please, I need both you and your daughter to leave Shibuya right away. I hear you. Kano conjured up Rumi's face in his mind. There was a chance he might never see her again. He forced the thought away as best as he could. By the way, if I may ask, Shizuo said, what was it about Rumi that made you fall in love with her? What? Where's this coming from all of a sudden? Was it her looks? No, it wasn't just that. Kano found himself tongue-tied again. I mean, she is pretty cute. Even this is my own daughter. Oh, listen, you can appreciate that your kids are, like, your daughter's cute, your son's cute. Like, that's fine. Just be real careful how you write that. Oh yeah, sure she is, but it's more than just that. She's also very sweet and kind-hearted. She is, isn't she? She really is. The first time, Kano and Shizuo smiled at one another. You're a man who lets his emotions show on his face, Shizuo said. And for a detective, that's not so bad. Thank you, sir, Kano said. He bowed to Shizuo as he stood up from his seat. Never lose sight of what you're supposed to protect, huh? I like that. Wise words indeed. Kano turned to look back and then bowed deeply to Shizuo one last time. He earned the respect of the father and didn't have to become a farmer. There's nothing wrong with being a farmer. But Kano is a good detective because he wants to be, because he cares. The ability to coldly assess a situation. Kano knew what he needed to do. There was one thing that was nagging him. No matter how hard he thought about it, it still didn't add up. Why would Tateno let Al-Karawan go free? He needed to get back to the precinct and hear the truth from Al-Karawan firsthand. As he walked along, he considered what he did know about the facts of the case. Just what sort of plan had Alphard put into motion here? It seemed that Tanaka and Osawa held the keys to understanding it. There had been a relay hands-off of the phony attaché case, a relay that Tanaka had been complicit in. Then there was Hitomi missing, carrying the antiviral. Osawa had confirmed that himself. Oh, a jump. We cannot do that jump yet. It's too early. Kano was starting to form a vague picture of what Alphard was up to. If the mastermind's goal was to acquire the antiviral, then obtaining the cooperation of Osawa and Tanaka was vital to that plan. After all, their fingerprint verification was required to physically access the drug. In order to overcome that hurdle, Alphard has presumably managed to win over Tanaka somehow. And had then kidnapped Maria, Osawa, to provide leverage against her father. No doubt that was how they'd gotten Hitomi to take the antiviral with her to Hachiko. While the police were distracted by following the attaché case, Alphard would then take the antiviral from Hitomi. That was the general plan as far as Kano could surmise. Just then, a call from Kuze came in over the wireless. We've identified the body found inside the blown-up minivan. Kano's hand tingled as it gripped the wireless. Mamoru Tanaka, male, 40 years old. What? An employee of Okoshi Pharmaceutical. Positive ID was obtained from the subject's personal belongings. No, that's not enough. They burned that body on purpose. As in not Tanaka. That's 1000% not Tanaka. I've seen enough crime stuff that does not him. Fun cognitive fact, despite what all the Stoics and debatum bros want you to believe, being cold attached isn't intellectually more efficient. While dismotions can disrupt mental efficiency, they often enhance it. Yes. There's this whole weird thing where people think that, like, emotions are the opposite of logic, but that's not even remotely true. Emotions actually tell us a lot about ourselves, and we are emotional creatures. We're supposed to be emotional creatures. Logic tells us how to handle the emotions that we have. Logic tells us what we should and can't and can do with and for to the emotions we have to either. And yes, emotions also enhance your cognitive abilities in both ways. So if you are thinking, if you are depressed, if you are sad, if you are in a bad mood, any or all of the above, especially if all of the above, your brain will more quickly identify negative words in just a space, like just automatically, naturally. Like you're in that place, you are just more quickly able to identify them, categorize them, etc. You are in looking for danger mode. That's where you are. And it goes the other way too. If you're in a positive, happy, like, state of mind, a good state of mind, you are more likely to be able to identify positive things. You identify things that are relative to your current context and situation. And that makes sense because you need to understand the context of your situation. That's literally how we function. That is literally how, like, people function. You need to understand the context around you. You need to understand yourself, and your feelings matter. They're important. They're telling you things. There's so much going on in your brain that isn't just the logical, like, cognitive thoughts that float through your mind. There's so much more, and there's so much more that we can perceive that we cannot have word thoughts about. Everything enhances and is meant to go together with everything. And the idea of using emotional as an insult is this crazy thing that, like, it's just this, also this weird psychology of if you see someone calm, they look confident. And if someone looks confident, then clearly that means that they're stronger, right? It's not true. Yes, people with disrupted emotional functions, yeah, pharma, brain, yeah, they're worse at making decisions. Yes, this is 100% true. You need emotions and emotional context to be able to understand things around you because everything around you has some kind of emotional context. Yeah, more prone to be deadlocked or paralyzed. Yeah, makes sense. Motivation, desire, everything is emotionally based. And, well, I mean, it goes the other way around. Like, desire and needs and feelings and stuff, it's really base level. But yes, without emotion, you have no motivation. Without emotion, you have no desire. And those are necessary to stay alive. Just for basic survival. If you don't have desire, you don't eat. If you don't have motivation, you don't anything. Is bad. If Tanaka was dead, it would be now almost impossible to access the antiviral drug in the laboratory. At this point, the only antiviral they had any chance of obtaining was whatever Hitomi was carrying. Kano thought back to what Stanley had said earlier. Even if we get Maria to safety, the mastermind is in possession of the UA virus. If they want to, they can unleash a bioterrorist attack on Shibuya at any time. To put it bluntly, the lives of every man, woman, and child in the city are in their hands. Stanley, good or evil? Human. It's not a good or evil thing. He's unfortunately one of the just following orders type of person. Yeah, answer, CIA. Yeah, it's gonna be both. I'm gonna give you both. Like, if he will follow orders, so if the people above him think that something he's doing is for the good of everyone and he should do it, then he'll do it. And it probably will be good for someone. So someone thinks he's good and doing good. Like, how on earth do you just take something so simple and define it into good and evil here? It's complicated. But the thing is that I don't trust anyone who just follows orders. I can't. Because I don't trust the person giving them orders. Because the person giving them orders is usually not like this committee of extremely smart experts. They're usually people making really cold decisions that are in some way selfish, because they have to be, but I still hate it, and I don't trust it. No. A chill ran down Kano's spine. If someone did release the UA virus, there'd be no way to stop it from spreading. If Alphard was planning a bioterror attack, Shibuya would well and truly become the city of the dead. He couldn't help but feel the whole department was playing right into Alphard's hands. Kano staggered, physically stricken by the realization of just how terrifying a foe they were up against. To be continued. Ooh, we got to the end of his story. That's actually awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so now we just need to get to the end of Osawa's story. which let's do just a little smidgy bit longer. Just a tiny bit. Only got a couple minutes, but I'll see if I can get another to be continued. Is something wrong, Mr. Osawa? Kajiwara was leaning in, looking concerned. Osawa came back to the moment. No, okay, yeah, just getting angry, yelling at people. He'd never thought to tell anyone how he felt before. Yeah, I remember that. Oh, yes, definitely. There is a lot of trauma and fear in terrorist attacks and bioterrorist attacks especially. Because like a terrorist attack, like you can stop bombs, you can deal with that. Like bioterrorism, something where every single living person becomes technically a bomb. Yeah, that's way more terrifying. Darling, I opened the doorsteps of the room. The detectives are asking for you. There's been a development. We know where this one is. Bomb went off to 10 hours ago and you didn't even know, and it's invisible, and a bunch of people have already been hit with it who also become bombs. Bombs that make more bombs is always scary. Always and forever. You know what? I think I'll probably end up playing on the keyboard from now on. This is actually pretty neat. Feels quite nice. It's funny, I was so scared of using the keyboard before, and now I'm like, actually, this is better. It kind of is. It's kind of straight up better. Yeah, you were right. You were 100% right. And I don't regret doing what I did for as long as I did it. But it is better. Before the news was shared with the Osawas, the members of the investigation team quietly briefed Detective Kajiwara. Osawa and I sat on the sofa on the far side of the room watching. Kajiwara goes pale. He wiped the sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief several times. Mr. Osawa, ma'am. Kajiwara shuffled away over. We've just gotten word from headquarters. Keyboard better. That's a beautiful highlight. We don't need to go to Kano. Nothing blocked there. He hesitated ominously. Osawa braced himself. Please, let's hear it. It seems your daughter Maria is safe. You mean it? The case has been solved? Added I. For a moment, they almost sounded like a happily married couple. It's only the stern look on Kajiwara's face that gave them pause. However, as of yet, we do not have her in custody. I'm not sure I understand, Osawa said. You know she's alive, but you don't have her. How? Deep furrows appeared in Kajiwara's forehead. Sorry, sir. The information we received from up top is complicated. We've confirmed she was able to escape confinement. It's just... Detective gave every appearance of holding something back. If there's something you need to tell us, just say it. Right? That's not the music for your daughter is safe. It would seem Maria's been infected with a virus. Infected? Sawa felt as if a taloned claw just clutched his heart. It's not one I've ever heard of before, but apparently it's called the Ua virus. Osawa's vision went dark. He felt as if he'd plunged into a black void of despair. Darling? I asked raspily. She didn't need to put her fears into words. Osawa felt them just as plainly in his own gut. You're an expert on virology, aren't you, Mr. Osawa? Kajiwara said. Are you familiar with this Ua virus? Osawa held up a hand to forestall further questions. There's no time for that. How many hours ago was she infected, he demanded. I wasn't told that much. Is it that important to know, sir? Depending on when Maria was infected, we may or may not still be. Sawa trailed off abruptly as the reality of the situation struck home. This wasn't the same as when Hitomi had been infected. Right now, there was no way of getting Tanaka's cooperation, which meant there was no way of accessing the antiviral storage. In other words, getting the cure to Maria would be impossible. Sawa's head swam. Detective Kajiwara, I beg of you, your people need to catch Tanaka as soon as possible. I can't share the details, but if you don't, something terrible is going to happen. Just then, Kajiwara's cell phone rang. He picked up quickly. What did you just say? The detective's shouts shattered the anxious silence that had fallen. I shuddered visibly at the outburst. Kajiwara nodded sharply, listening more. More creases formed on his forehead. Understood. Let them know. He hung up. All eyes were on him. That was headquarters. Sawa swallowed a lump in his throat. He could feel himself quaking all over. A minivan we believe belonged to the syndicate exploded near Jinan and Shibuya. A body was found amongst the burning wreckage of the vehicle. Who was it? Sawa interjected. Tell me. Please don't let it be Maria. Please don't let it be Hitomi. Kajiwara took a breath before speaking. He conclusively identified the remains. Mr. Tanaka's. No! Yeah, she was... Yep. Cry was visceral. Almost bird-like. Sawa looked around in surprise. It was I. It's not true, you're lying! Herschel's screams reverberated through the room. Sawa felt like he wanted to scream too. With Tanaka dead, there was no way to get the antiviral. Which meant that Maria was going to die. To be continued. This is such a dramatic place to end today. And we will, because all we have left now is just Minorikawa. From here, I'm just gonna click on it. Just clicking on it, and then I have to call it for today. I can feel myself struggling to read properly, and I'm gonna go lie down. Fingers crossed, y'all, that I can manage to just sleep it off and not actually get sick, especially when I have a lot of stuff coming up. I believe. Show me the controls. Open time chart, return to original page. I have no idea how to quit the game. And that's not my problem. It's not anyone's problem right now. Indeed. So, very, very exciting. We're almost at the end of another hour here with this game. Really still just absolutely adoring it. Alt F4. No, I don't think that's the way to do it. I know it'll work, but that's not the one I want to use. I'll figure it out. Don't worry. In the meantime, thank you all for hanging out with me today. It has been a wonderful time. And I might see you next week. And I might not. We shall see. If not, either way, happy holidays. Happy New Year. And if I'm back next week, then I'll just wish you all again anyways. So, see you either way. See you soon. Bye.